Hey guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about the magic of the right or trail shoulder during your downswing. There's two key moves, one really good checkpoint for each one, and one awesome drill at the end that ultimately is designed to make you hit the ball more solid, more consistent day to day with less curve. Let's get started. We'd like to thank HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit, for sponsoring today's video. Like a lot of you guys, I'm looking to save time whenever I can. I want to spend more time practicing my golf game, coaching, being out on the course. I don't want to spend time going to the grocery store and doing as much meal prep. And that's where HelloFresh is awesome. You get fresh, real food sent right to your house, easy, ready to follow meals, menus that you can choose from, any kind of diet that you're following. HelloFresh can help you get to your nutrition goals and much faster and save you time so you can spend more time out on the golf course. Produce gets to you faster than a grocery store, so it arrives at peak freshness and flavor. Pre-portioned meals mean there's less prep for you and less wasted food. HelloFresh cuts out the stress of meal planning so you can have your food, enjoy your cooking, and have the food on the table in as little as 30 minutes. And I love how flexible HelloFresh is. You can change your meal plans, even skip a week if you need to. I love the way HelloFresh gives back. They donated over 4 million meals in 2020 alone, and they're stepping up their donations even more this year. Go to HelloFresh.com and use my code Eric Cogorno 14 to get 14 free meals, including free shipping. If you guys want to spend less time in the kitchen, enjoy your cooking more, have beautiful, fresh, tasty food delivered to you, try HelloFresh. You have 14 free meals. I hope that you guys love it as much as we do. All right guys, Eric here out at the Bethlehem Golf Club. Let's talk about the trail shoulder. Two key moves during the downswing that you have to have in your swing. I'm going to show you what those are, how much and when to do each one of them, if it changes with different swings. We're going to go over, analyze, show you a couple videos, and one really good drill I want you to take home. Guys, do me a favor, if you do like the video, please click that gray thumbs up button. Really helps us out. If you're struggling with your trail shoulder or contact, I'd love to be your coach at CogornoGolf.com. It's where you can send in your swings, schedule a 15-minute consultation call with me, go over your game, put a game plan together, help you improve. But for now, let's talk trail shoulder. So there's two key movements that the trail shoulder should do during the downswing. Those two are tilt or side bend. It has to tilt and it has to turn. Tilt and turn. Now, what we're trying to do during the downswing is combine that tilting. So the tilting would be the right shoulder getting closer to the right hip. There's two ways for how that happens we'll talk about. And the turning is the right shoulder moving forward towards the target. So we're trying to combine those to the point where that right shoulder works its way down and out towards the golf ball, right? You see that look we'll see on video with awesome players who have awesome compression, really great golf swings. Their right shoulder's down and forward. It's down towards the ground and forward towards the target. Now, how much of each do we need to do? Well, there's a specific checkpoint I'm going to show you in the video, but basically the trail shoulder, if you drew a line on it when you start your swing at that height, your trail shoulder needs to go under that during the downswing, underneath that. How far forward it has to go is it's got to get back to the ball line. So if there was a line with the golf ball, my right shoulder's got to get forward enough from turning that it gets to that point by roughly the time my arms are parallel to the ground. Those are two fundamental pieces in great golf swings. Let me show you a little more detail about what I'm talking about. Okay, so we pulled up Adam Scott here, my favorite vanilla iron swing. Let's look at the trail shoulder motions. First, just the height, right? So during the downswing, we have to have some amount of tilt. So you see how it's set up. His right shoulder's lower than his left. Now, by the time we get to impact, that right shoulder needs to be even lower compared to where it started. So let's run him up here. The right shoulder works up and back towards the target during the backswing. Now watch this movement. It goes down and forward. So notice here through impact, if I go on the yellow line, that his right shoulder is lower than where he started with. So he has more tilt, more side bend for two reasons we'll go over. But that's a really good visual for you to paint. If there's a wall where you start with, your right shoulder's got to go underneath that. Now, if we look at the face on, you can see the same thing. So shoulder goes up and back during the backswing. Now as he comes down and forward, notice the same thing. Look at his shoulders here at impact. They're more tilted. His right shoulder's lower than where it started, right? He has more side bend, partially from the shift we'll talk about. So that would be the first thing to realize, right shoulder lower. And then the second point is how far forward it goes. So if we look at the face-on version, a good checkpoint for how forward it goes, so let's put this red circle on where he starts. A good checkpoint would be you want to get the shoulder back to even with the golf ball by the time the arms are parallel in the follow-through. So let's do a orange with the golf ball here. And what I want you to see here is this right shoulder, as he comes down, is going to be not only lower than where it started, so it's more forward, even at impact, right here, but notice where it gets to by right arm parallel. See how that's basically right back in line with where the golf ball was, or pretty darn close to it? That's the checkpoint that I want you to be able to hit in terms of the forward turn motion. Underneath where it started for the tilt, to the golf ball line by arms parallel for the turn. Okay, so here is the absolute best drill for you to combine the trail shoulder during the downswing. I want you to grab an iron, I've got a 7-iron here, and put it across your shoulders to the point where almost all of the club, or at least 3/4 of it, let's start with about all of it, is to the right of my shoulder. So see how the grip ends by my left shoulder, the club's by my right shoulder, and the club head I have facing straight up and down here, kind of similar to like I would at setup. Now, if I take my setup position and keep my club head back here, this is the best feel to do both these. Watch this, and I want you to try this yourself. Get the club head to point right behind the golf ball. So by the time what I feel like would be my impact position, I want to feel from my eye, if I close my left eye, in my right eye, I literally see the club head being right behind the golf ball. It's a perfect visual. Now notice, if I didn't do the lowering, the tilting part, and my right shoulder stayed high, that wouldn't look right like at the golf ball. That to me looks way outside the golf ball. So my right shoulder's too high, the stick would be pointed too far out. The golf club is way over to the right. And if I don't do the forward part enough, the club head never gets to the ball. The club head's back by my trail foot. So I'm trying to feel my trail shoulder work down and forward and get the club head right behind the ball. So I'm closing my left eye and feeling that motion. It feels to me like my left side and oblique is stretched out. My right shoulder's closer to my right hip. I can even feel like my neck is even tilted. My right ear feels like it's a little lower to the ground. I do feel a little leg action as I'm doing this, left leg straightening. Hips are pushing up and forward. But the main feel is getting that club head right back behind the ball. Now, as I'm gonna come in here and hit, I wanna be able to try and replicate those same feels. For me, I feel like I'm doing an oblique crunch. If I'm at the gym and I'm doing this sort of right side ab crunch motion, that's essentially what I'm feeling with turn. So if you stand up and just do a crunch, a little ab, 2-for-1 deal, you get a little crunch motion and then you turn yourself towards the target. Notice my neck is slightly tilted down as I do it. That's the feel. If I took my trail hand only, it's like I'm trying to slap high five to a wall right out in front of my left foot here, tilted over. I'm not going high five way up here. I'm going like a low five. Low five. Now, as I'm starting to hit with this, one thing to note as I'm doing those same feels is if you're someone who's usually high and over, to get your right shoulder down and forward, if your right shoulder is closer to the ball, quite literally, compared to up here, you need to bend something or shorten something else, which is usually your trail arm or trail wrist. So the more I feel my right shoulder down and under, the more my trail arm is going to feel bent longer and my trail wrist is going to feel bent longer. Now those can start to throw more out here. So let's go ahead and hit a couple with that. What I would do from a practice perspective is do kind of what I did, especially if it's new, do about 10 rehearsals. Do a bunch of rehearsals. Start to get your body moving like this. You're gonna feel some different motions. Like I really feel my left side stretched. Like this is way longer, right? As I crunch to the right, my left side stretches out. And then a couple just sort of feels working through the same thing, and then we're going to hit with it. So my right shoulder feels down and forward, like a right side crunching as I'm turning. Yeah, and that's solid. What you should expect when you do that, if you're not used to it, is much more compression, better club face control, very likely less curve to the ball. As my right shoulder doesn't go low enough and goes high, what usually happens is too much trail shoulder internal rotation, high right arm, too much club face rotation, added dynamic loft, nothing real good. As my right shoulder stays under and goes forward, it's easier to keep the handle forward, more passive release, lower dynamic loft, better contact, more consistent, right? That's all good. So same thing, club across, club head behind the ball, depending upon your eye dominance. I close my left eye. It's really cool. It's literally right behind the ball. Looks like I could hit it from that point of view. I'm going to feel the same thing. My right arm and right wrist will feel a little more bent, a little longer. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, and that's about as nice as I could strike it. Now, in terms of the forward part, right, just one or two little caveats. If you're struggling to get your trail shoulder forward enough, and that drill's not resonating with you, and, another nice visual would be to have a club or stick in line with the golf ball, just to see how far forward your right shoulder should get. So the checkpoint is, in terms of the face-on angle, your right shoulder should be in line with that by the time your arms are parallel to the ground. So in terms of the forward part, right shoulder gets to the stick. It's still low, but it gets forward to the stick by the time my arms are parallel to the ground. So right shoulder forward to the stick and under. Now, as you're getting the forward part, you have to make sure that you have some extension in there. So watch this. I don't want to go forward with my head and torso going forward. I want the right shoulder to go under and forward, but my chest and my shirt buttons are pointed up towards the sky. So my head stays back. I don't go my whole torso. So I don't get my right shoulder forward with my whole body. My right shoulder goes underneath me and forward, but my chest goes up towards the sky. So it's like shoulder under and forward as my chest goes up. Yeah, beautiful. I see some people trying to get the forward motion and they miss the extension. So it's here, club head down to the ball, right shoulder under and forward, left side's longer, shirt buttons up towards the sky. And this would be the same whether you're hitting wedge, 7-iron, hybrid, fairway wood, driver. Yeah, that's nice. So if you're struggling with your trail shoulder, if you're struggling with your downswing, all of this motion makes it easier to get the club on plane, get the path good, have the release pattern be more neutral, gain more speed. I mean, if you look at players at impact and their handicap level, you'll see a 1-to-1 correlation. The trail shoulder's more under and more forward. Those are the two motions you need, tilting and turning. During the downswing, that right shoulder lower motion, that's side bend, but also the shoulder's going down from shifting and tilting. So if you take your setup and you push your hips forward, which happens during your downswing, that will give you tilt. That's part of it. And then you also got to get your right shoulder doing the crunch. So that right shoulder lower motion is really coming from shifting and doing the side bend piece, just a clarification there. But those are the two pieces. Those are the checkpoints. Right shoulder under where it started. Imagine you have a wall where your right shoulder starts. Get underneath it. It's got to go lower. Your shoulders don't turn on the same exact angle back and through. You're more tilted over during the downswing. I like that drill with the club across. If you're struggling with contact or right shoulder, have more questions, check out cogornogolf.com. You can send us in your videos there. We'll put that card on the screen to check out. Also, we'll put another card on the screen. We've got a couple other right shoulder videos you may like. We'll put those on. You can go ahead and click those. Thank you guys for watching.